I did I'm writing an article on AI and hyper specific co branding. And it kind of builds off of the article I wrote a few weeks ago, the post general era. I talk about how we're moving from since the Industrial Revolution, we have been in a generalist era where we've been building everything around general and average. And part of the main boom that's happening with AI, I think it's moving us into this hyper specific time. And this article that I'm writing, it's about AI and hyper specific co branding. And there's this really interesting area that I'm kind of realizing as I look at here are some of the signals. So you look at the rise of influencers in social media and moving as we move into interest media, we move from influencers being just a person to being brands, to being known figures, and this is shifting kind of everything. So that's kind of one area of it. The next is I'm thinking about uh, the story of Michael Jordan when he is signing his shoe deal with Nike, and it's the first time that it's not just a company that has athletes signed to them. It's now the Jordan brand. And the Jordan brand went on to become one of the most iconic shoe brands in history, and it actually was making more money than Nike. And so but that was not the precedence. Like that changed, and he was getting a percentage of that. So you think about that, add it with what we see happening in kind of the creator economy with influencers moving to brands and these figures, and we've already been seeing this. I think one of the biggest examples is Mr. Beast. Went from just creating little YouTube videos to amassing a huge audience to then, moving to Amazon Prime and doing stuff on the TV. And then he also has the Feastables and has all this physical goods that kind of came out from that brand. Um, and I think along with this, another signal that you're seeing is for the last 20 years, with the rise of the internet, you see the movement of digitizing the physical world to bring it into the digital world. And so, as people are operating inside of the more and more inside of this digital realm, we spend a lot of our time in there. We're now seeing, I think, the pendulum just swing back, and where the big shift is now instead of digitizing everything, it's now moving the digital space and digital brands, digital creation content creators into the physical world. I think there's something really, really, really fascinating about this, and some of the other ones, not just Mr. Beast, but I think about Peter McKinnon, who's a YouTuber, photographer. He's done bags and ND filters, and so having very specific physical goods that he's a digital creator that now is coming into the physical world. So where I'm getting to is this AI and hyper specific. When I talk about in my article on the post general era, I talk about how AI and a lot of the technologies that are being developed are moving us to away from trying to identify brands, identify with things. Like I want to be like this celebrity, to now it's colognes that are scented specifically for you. It's clothing that's made bespoke for you and not for everyone else. And so it's turning everything into hyper specific, hyper personalized, hyper contextual. And when I'm talking about co-branding, where I think that this gets really interesting is you have digital brands or digital spaces, and being able to then attach physical objects. And but the not you could do that today, but you have to have such a large audience to be able to do that. And so here's the difference: is I think what we're moving into is this era where you don't have to have a large audience to be able to have the ability to get into physical stores. And so I'm thinking, that in 2020 there was the skateboarder, it was like Dogface, that he was just on a skateboard and drinking that thing. Imagine if when he posted that, he was able to simultaneously post a co-branded with him um, on the bottle. I can't remember what the brand was that he did it with. But if when he posted it and tagged them, that there could be an AI system that also created a physical brand, so that now not just people were virality doesn't just mean that I got millions of views, but it also means that I got maybe hundreds of thousands of views and thousands of products shipped. So being able to move, not just virality is going to move not just from being in the digital world, but being able to move digital to physical. I think that's where we're kind of seeing stuff. So that's I'm going to post this a little bit later, but I wanted to get on and talk about it. I just think there's something interesting here, and especially when you start thinking about like hyper local, not needing to be something that like is in Target and is widespread across the nation. But if I could just be in my local store and have be able to create, a candy bar that is, co-branded with Hershey's and is my brand, and it sits on a shelf just in one HEB, my grocery store around the corner. That becomes very, very, very interesting. And I also talk about how now when you start talking about like hyper local, what if like these stores now are talking to each other to say, um, hey, it's selling well over there. What if it came over to the east side and we use this kind of art? And so reaching out to the creator and saying, hey, this is going really well in central San Antonio. If you thought about doing this art, we could put it in the east side and connect with this. So now the stores become more of a local curator and not just a warehouse that things kind of come in. So I just think there's a lot of interesting things that are going to be happening over the next decade and a half. When you start thinking about hyper personalized and co-branding and moving from the digital space into the physical world, I think there's going to be a huge amount of shift in that. So um, yeah, just wanted to kind of talk about that for a minute, and that's kind of it.